In the small, sleepy town of Willow Creek, everything seems normal until four kids discover their weird superpowers. Meet Lily, Max, Tess, and Oliver, a group of best friends who are about to learn that being a hero doesn't require having traditional powers. Sometimes, being different is what makes you special. Lily, the nature-loving gardener of the group, realizes she has the ability to control plants, but only dandelions. On the surface, it seems like a strange and somewhat silly gift, especially when all she can summon are fluffy, innocent dandelions that float in the air like little seeds of chaos. One day, Lily proudly shows off her latest gardening project at school, hoping for a beautiful flower to bloom. Instead, to her embarrassment, only dandelions sprout from her pot and blow around the courtyard in a massive cloud. She tries to control them, but they scatter everywhere, covering the whole schoolyard and causing a mix of giggles and chaos. At first, Lily's superpowers seems like a disaster. Meanwhile, Max, the class clown, discovers he has the power to turn invisible, but only when no one is looking at him. He tests this out by walking around the hallways, disappearing when no one is looking, but as soon as someone turns around, he reappears with a startled expression. It's a power that's as funny as it is frustrating, and Max can't help but laugh at his own misfortune. He's invisible until he's not. Then there's Tess, the quiet thinker, who realizes she can freeze time for 5 seconds, but only 5 seconds. At first, she uses this power to freeze her classmates' chaotic behavior during a math test, making sure she's the first to finish and quietly organizing the room in a neat and orderly fashion. But when she tries to stop a crisis, 5 seconds isn't nearly enough time to make a big impact. Finally, Oliver, a bit of an oddball, discovers he can talk to animals, but only squirrels. These squirrels, though cute, are completely unpredictable and often more interested in snacks and random chatter than helping out. During one of their strategy meetings, a squirrel argues that they should form an acorn mafia. Despite his frustration, Oliver enjoys the chaos of his talks with the squirrels, even if they don't always lead to solutions. It isn't long before these misfit powers are put to the test when a new villain named Dr. Control arrives in town. He's a genius scientist with a mind control machine that he plans to use to take over the entire town. His first demonstration at the town square causes widespread panic as people suddenly become mindless followers of his every command. The kids realize that, despite their weird powers, they're the town's last hope. The kids quickly meet up and decide to team up to stop Dr. Control, knowing that their powers may not be traditional, but they might just work if they combined forces. As they head toward the town square, Tess freezes time for 5 seconds to strategize. They'll need a distraction, and they'll need to think on their feet. Lily comes up with a plan. She'll use her dandelions to block the mind control machine. She concentrates hard, trying to summon something stronger than a puff of seeds, but before she can focus, an accidental wave of energy sends hundreds of dandelions bursting into the air, filling the entire town square. At first, it looks like a disaster. Dandelions are everywhere, flying through the air, blocking people's view, and confusing everyone in sight, but then Lily has an idea. She gathers all her strength, directing the dandelions to swarm around Dr. Control's henchmen, who are trying to protect their leader. The henchmen are soon buried in a flurry of dandelions, unable to move or see. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's effective. The distraction is so strong that the mind control machine starts to malfunction, sparking and sputtering. Max sees his chance and, invisible to the henchmen, sneaks up behind Dr. Control. With a grin, he grabs the villain's remote control, and just as Dr. Control realizes something is wrong, Max is back in the shadows, laughing to himself. Meanwhile, Oliver sends his squirrel army into action. The squirrels, while mostly interested in stealing snacks, rush to distract the remaining henchmen, stealing their gear and creating further confusion. One squirrel even jumps onto Dr. Control's shoulder, offering him a piece of acorn as if they were old friends, totally throwing him off. Finally, Tess uses her time-freezing power to stop Dr. Control just as he's about to make a getaway. In her 5 seconds of frozen time, she spots a key part of the machine that is still working. She presses a button that short-circuits the system, causing it to fizzle and stop working altogether. Dr. Control falls to the ground, covered in dandelions and utterly defeated. He tries to escape but is tangled up in the cloud of dandelions, unable to move. The townspeople, no longer under his control, start to regain their senses, completely unaware that the kids were the ones who saved the day. As the chaos dies down, the kids regroup. They've done it. They've saved Willow Creek, using their imperfect powers in ways they never thought possible. Max gives a thumbs up, Tess smiles at her perfectly timed freeze, Oliver chats happily with his squirrel friends, and Lily stands proudly among the sea of dandelions. The next day, back at school, the kids try to act normal, though they share knowing smiles. No one knows that the Misfit Superheroes were the ones who stopped Dr. Control. As they walk through the school halls, they joke about their powers and laugh at the chaos that unfolded, but deep down, they know they're ready for whatever comes next. The end.
Subscribe to my channel.
channel